to talk to you about the Kerwin Reservoir and Irrigation Canal. According to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, construction on the Kerwin Reservoir Dam began in March of 1952 and ended in August of 1955. They started storing water in the reservoir in October of 1955, 1 month after they completed construction on the dam. They started construction on the canal in November of 1955, and that ended in January of 1958. And it is operated by the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. The canal and the reservoir is known as the Kerwin Unit. It's located along the North Fork Solomon River. It is a multi-purpose reservoir. Some of those purposes are fishing, hunting, and the big one being irrigation. And during the winter, when all the waterfowl are migrating, there's always thousands of ducks and geese located around the reservoir. And the irrigation canal runs from the Kerwin Reservoir to Wakanda Lake, which spans 54 miles. Some of the reasons for it being built was the river flood in July of 1951. Construction was authorized by Congress with the Supplemental Appropriations Act that was passed in November of 1951. And then not even half a year later, they were starting construction on the dam. And according to a U.S. Geological Survey, there was 1,100 people injured by the July 1951 river flood. And during the flood, it was reported that Manhattan, Topeka, Lawrence, and Kansas City took the worst of the damages. There was a total of $2.5 billion of damage done, and that would be, counting inflation, that would be $25 billion today. Before the reservoir was constructed, there was bad floods all the time, which would lead to damaged or destroyed crops, livestock, and property. The flood control provided by the reservoir was large enough to completely control the largest flood on record and still have a safe outflow. And according to a 1953 House of Representatives hearing, the total cost of the reservoir and the canal system was $22,560,000. Some of the advantages of the Kerwin Reservoir and irrigation canal is hunting and fishing, and then flood protection from the North Fork Solomon River and Boat Creek. And here's a map of the reservoir. Here is where the river comes in, and here's where Boat Creek comes in. And right here is on the east side of the reservoir is where the dam is located at. And right here is where the spillway is, which is where they would let out extra water if there's too much water in the reservoir. And that water ends up just going back into the North Fork Solomon River. And then right off the spillway is also where the canal system starts at. And according to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, it was reported in 2002, there was a total of 11,435 acres of land that was irrigated. Operation and maintenance of the canals, laterals, and drains is the responsibility of the irrigation district. And there is a canal that runs about 200 yards south of our house here. And depending on the water level of the reservoir is relative to how much water they will let out into the canal and into the spillway. And how the canal system works is there's people that they're called ditch riders, and they drive along the ditch, and if a farmer wants water to irrigate their field with, they have to go to the field where by the canal, and there is a part that they have to turn on that will have water come up out of the canal, and it can be hooked on, there can be pipe hooked onto it, and that will help irrigate the field. And the canal and the reservoir is beneficial to more than just the farming community. It helps provide flood protection, and it also provides a few jobs for the community.